Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is David.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Kathy.
And we're Board Together Games. And welcome today to this really, hopefully quick rundown, wrap up, whatever you want to call it, of Geekway to the West 2018, which we went to this past week. Mm-hmm. What is there to say other than...
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy yourself?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good. Just real quick to compare to last year, very similar feel. And again, I think that is a testament to the people who run the convention.
I would agree.
That they are very consistent. Mm-hmm. They do an excellent job of putting the event together, organizing all the events. They always end up getting things done, getting things running smoothly. Kudos to them. Another great job this year, I think, from the Geekway staff. I will say, one thing I noticed, and I don't know if it was just me or the convention itself, I felt like it went by really fast, first of all.
Yes.
As opposed to last year, by the time the last day came around, I kind of felt like I was tired. I was done. Mm-hmm. I was ready to go. But this year, I mean, yeah, I had a little bit of fatigue, but I could have went another day or two.
I would have loved it for it to be a couple more days. That would have been awesome.
What about you? Were you tired or were you good to go?
I was tired, but I think I could stand a couple more days.
Cool. So what we want to do with this video is just kind of give you a real quick rundown, like we said, of the things that we did, the overall experience, talk a little bit about what we played and what we bought. I can't tell you that I have a lot of experience with other local conventions. You'd have a tough time getting better than what they do at Geekway.
Yeah.
I really feel like that's the case. I would go so far as to say that if you are anywhere close to this area, and I may regret saying this, but if you live anywhere close to this area, it's really not super expensive to go to the show. Mm-hmm. The most expensive thing is going to be getting here in your hotel and that kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have a huge vendor presence, but it's growing every year. But I really think it would behoove you to try to make it to Geekway. I really think you will not be disappointed. And I may regret saying that because if it grows too much, they're going to end up having to find a different venue, and that venue may be farther away from my house, which will be a problem. It's not really far away, but I like the fact that it's close and convenient.
Absolutely.
And I'm kind of spoiled by that now. But hey, the more the merrier when it comes to gaming.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. So come one, come all. Come to Geekway, say hi to us, play games with us. It'll be a blast. So speaking of which, in 2019, Geekway to the West will be on May 16th through 19th at the St. Charles Convention Center. So same venue as this year, which is great. So if you're interested, start making plans now. Tickets go on sale in January, I believe. That's usually when they go on sale.
Right.
Be looking forward to that, and hopefully we'll see you there next year. We did find out another piece of news about upcoming Geekway schedules, and that's for 2020. In 2020, Geekway is going to be the week before Origins. And we are going to Origins this year. We plan on having a preview video coming out for that here pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure how that's going to work for us, because that's kind of the two conventions that we go to.
Yep.
And with them being one right after the other like that, that could be problematic. I'll have to wait and see what the decision is when 2020 gets here. I know it's 2 years away, but still. So let's talk about kind of the first thing that happens when you check in and get your badge is you get your free game. And this year, that game was called Shogunate. This is a card game that I don't know a whole lot about yet because we just haven't had time to play it yet. Each one of us got a copy as we headed in the door. This was the winner of the design contest that is held every year at Geekway to the West, and it won in 2016. And that's going to be a tradition now with Geekway going forward, is that you will always receive as your free game the game that won the design contest 2 years previously. So next year it will be the game that won last year. Mm-hmm. In 2020, it will be the game that won this year.
Which I happen to know is going to be called Make It Happen.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm glad you knew that because I remembered hearing it, but I promptly forgot everything about it.
Yep, it is based on Project Runway. And because Tim Gunn says make it happen, and it's about making clothing for the runway. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, kudos to him for a unique theme.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. That is one sure way to get me to bite on a game that maybe I wouldn't even normally try, is by having a unique or interesting theme. So kudos. Okay, next, real quickly, let's just run down the games. I want to go down really quick the games that we played while we were there.
Okay.
Now, some of these we did not even get a full playthrough on, but a lot of them we did. Even some of the games that we demoed, we were able to play it through to completion. So I'm just going to run through these and just mention a little bit about them. You guys throw your thoughts and comments out as we go here. The first game we played was Out of the Play and Win, and that's Indian Summer, which is, I think, 2 to 4 players. It's another polyomino style game, follow-up to Cottage Garden. I think that's going to be a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what the next one's going to be called yet. I don't even know if Stronghold knows what it's going to be called yet. Mm-hmm. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I actually liked it a lot more than I liked Cottage Garden. Now, you guys both love Cottage Garden.
I do love Cottage Garden. I love the way that you get your pieces in Cottage Garden, where they have the grid and the piece moves around, and that tells you which pieces you're going to get.
That is unique
to
that game.
But I did also love in Indian Summer how the pieces have a hole in them, and it shows through to icons that are on your grid board that allows you to get free actions.
That is one that I would definitely play again. Now, you have Cottage Garden. Would you buy Indian Summer as well?
I thought about it because I really like the uniqueness of the holes being in the pieces.
What about you, Ryan? What did you like better, Cottage Garden or Indian Summer?
That's a hard decision.
You like them both, right?
Yes, I do.
And you like them both more than Barren Park, don't you?
Yes.
I'm with you, buddy.
No, they don't know what they're talking about. All right, so moving on. Rising 5, Ruins of Asteros.
Yes.
A cooperative game that basically takes Mastermind, if you remember Mastermind, the little memory game, or not memory, but deduction game that you played as kids where there's 4 different colored pegs and you have a certain number of guesses to try to figure out what color and order those are in. But it basically gives it a theme, makes it cooperative, and lets an app run the puzzle. I think it's great.
It was really cool.
Very cool.
It was.
Yep.
And except that we got destroyed.
We did.
We did. They killed us.
It did. It's a little discouraging when you play a cooperative game for the first time and you get smashed. But that's really how it's supposed to be. Because if you get a cooperative game and you beat it the first time,
it shouldn't be easy.
Yeah, odds are it's not going to have very much longevity in your collection.
Right. It has to be a challenge.
Exactly. All right, next game we played is Ex Libris. This was on Kathy's list of games she wanted to try, which is basically a tableau building card game where you're basically putting cards down on the table in alphabetical order. And they slapped a theme on it. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't too crazy about it. Didn't really do much for me.
I like the premise of it, but it kind of fell a little flat for me.
And I don't know why. It shouldn't have.
Right.
I feel like it had all the makings of a great game.
Yeah, it did.
And all three of us kind of felt the same way.
Yeah, we all just kind of felt that way. We all kind of felt like it just wasn't quite the game we thought it was going to be.
That was Ex Libris. The next one we played, also play and win, Queen Domino.
Yes.
Which is the follow-up to King Domino, which won, I think, the Spiel des Jahres last year.
Yes,
sure did.
And we've also done a review for.
Queen Domino is very similar to King Domino. It's a tile-laying game where you're just building up your tableau of different terrains, and you're trying to make those terrain sizes as large as you can. That's how you score points. And this just adds some more things, like building buildings and...
taxes, the knights.
Knights where you can...
gather taxes.
This is kind of one of those things where I felt like, hey, these are some really neat additions to a game that really didn't need it. And what I mean, when I say didn't need it, I mean King Domino kind of is what it is. It's a very light, simple game that's supposed to be done in 5 minutes. You know, just a quick little filler-style family game. Queen Domino takes that game and dumps all this stuff on it that I just feel like, I mean, they're neat mechanisms, but I just don't feel like they're supposed to be there. If I'm going to play a game like King Domino, I'm going to play King Domino because it's over in 5 minutes and I'm done and I scratch that itch and off we go to move on to something else. The next game we played, I think was a hit all across the board, and that is Hardback. This was also on Ryan's list of anticipated games. This is the follow-up to Paperback, which is a game by Tim Fowers, Fowers Games. Kathy owns Paperback. Awesome little card game, deck building card game where you just build words with cards.
And the harder letters to incorporate into a word, the more points you get, and the higher level.
And the more money it makes, so you can buy more cards to add to your deck to make better words.
Points.
And Hardback is the same type of game with different mechanisms added in. Some taken out, some added in. Changes some things around. Really cool stuff. I think my favorite of the two is still Paperback.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but
I really like Hardback.
I do too. I liked it a lot. So added some really neat things. The press your luck element that they added in Hardback.
Adding the ink to the cards was really cool.
Very cool. But yeah, as the game, I think I like Paperback just a little bit better. The next game we played was a demo that we did at the R&R Games booth. It was called Coastal Rowana. I can't say it.
Coastal Rowana.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't do words good. It was basically a very mean... little family style game where basically every round you play cards face up, one card face down, and then you resolve all those cards in a certain order. And What you're doing is you're trying to place your natives out onto the board and move them around to gather treasure. There are ways in which you can stick it to your neighbor because only certain cards are going to work. Resolve, I guess,
right,
based on some color cards that are out in the middle. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, and plus we did get taught the game by Dan, who is a great teacher, great game teacher, first of all. Super nice guy.
And he's so fun to play games with, too.
Yeah, exactly. So we had a blast. People, I know they were walking by looking at us, and we were just laughing out loud. It was a lot of fun. That was Costa
Rwanda.
Thank you. All right, the next one we played was also a demo that we did at R&R Games booth. I'm kind of just doing these in order as we played them, and that is a game called Artifact Stack. Artifact Stack is another really quick family-style game where you're basically taking a deck of cards and pulling out a certain number of factions. There's 10 total in the box, and you use 6 in a game.
Right.
You take these cards. Certain cards are always face up. Certain cards are always face down. You take these 6 groups of cards, you shuffle them all together, and you lay out what's called a tomb. And we are going, as explorers, going into these tombs to try to find treasure. And you're basically, on your turn, you're just taking a card. By taking cards, you're going to score points and trigger different abilities. Some are
trying
good.
to do set collection.
Very simple, very fun little game. This one was a lot of fun. So much so that you'll hear about it again a little bit later. So that was Artifact Stack. Next game we played was called Steamrollers. This is a next level roll and write style game from Stronghold Games. In this one, basically you're rolling dice and drafting dice with the other players in order to build up tracks on your player board, or in this case a piece of paper that you're drawing on. You're building out your train routes and then delivering goods from city to city. Very interesting mechanics in this game. Very, very cool. I liked it a lot.
I liked it a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sure exactly what my issue was. At the time that we played the game, I was not wrapping my head around how to play. So I was struggling with understanding what I needed to do. Maybe it was the way it was explained that I wasn't quite grabbing it.
Could be.
It took me about half of the game to kind of understand what I needed to do. I'm sure if I played it again, now that I understand the strategy, I would be able to do better.
Sure.
And I think I would like it more. The jury's still out, but I know that I like it enough that I'd like to play it again. Very interesting because it's a roll and write, which you usually consider to be a kind of a gateway, easy, light game. Yet this one is much deeper, more strategy, more gamery.
That's its claim to fame, I think, right now.
Yeah.
I do like it. I don't like it enough to buy it.
And here's the guy who darn near beat the guy teaching us the game, who played it like 50 times at the convention. The next game we played is a little abstract strategy game called Fae. F-A-E. Fae. It is not released yet, but Fae is a 2 to 4 player abstract strategy game where you're basically moving these little druid tokens around to different territories, different landscapes across the board. Very pretty. It sounds more thematic than it actually is. You actually don't even play a color, but you do have a secret color that you're trying to score points on. So yeah, really you don't know until the end of the game. I guess you are playing that color.
Yeah.
But it is a secret.
Yeah, nobody knows that you're that color until the end of the game.
If it were not for that mechanism, it would not be a very good game.
This one didn't do much for me.
Yeah.
I felt like the only thing that I liked about the game was the secret color.
Right.
Because that, like you said, that kind of made the game.
That was the game. There are some who are going to love it.
Oh, I would agree.
It's for somebody, it's just not for us, I think.
Yeah.
Next on the list, we played Coal Baron, the Great Card Game. I knew I was going to like this game, but it's definitely one of my favorites at the convention that we played. Coal Baron, the Great Card Game. It's just a card game. It's action selection, I guess, kind of thing, where basically you take turns placing. That's worker placement, but worker placement with cards that have different numbers on them, so the different numbered cards are different powers, or actually it's multiple workers. I am stepping all over a game that I love right now. Again, we don't know what we're talking about.
Just check it out. You'll love it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's very cool. There's a lot going on for just a box full of cards. Endgame points and special abilities that you can acquire and it's great. Coal Baron, the Great Card Game. Definitely check it out, even if it sounds uber boring to you. Next we have...
On the Price is Right.
Yeah, a game that we just demoed, and honestly, it was just more than I was ready to take at the time. That's Noria. Very complex. It has some very unique stuff in it. Yes. Very cool stuff. Yes. Your player board is basically a 3D wheel that has 3 separate rotating segments on it. And when those segments rotate, that's what determines the actions that you're allowed to take on your turn. And then basically you're building factories and gathering resources and climbing up victory tracks like most other Euros. Well, not most, but a lot of other Euros out there. But yeah, that action selection wheel
very unique.
Is very unique. But there is a lot going on. A lot of different things you can choose. Even though the player board dictates what actions you can take, there is some mitigation there, so you can kind of turn the wheel out of turn and that kind of stuff to kind of force things to happen a certain way, but there's just a lot going on. I just felt like it was difficult to point myself down a certain strategy. I'm like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start.
That was my struggle. I just didn't know what strategy I needed to take. I couldn't tell from the way I was being taught what I needed to do next or what would be the best options for me. I felt like I was kind of all over the place.
Right. Any of the stuff that we're saying, don't take that as law about the game. This is just our opinions, how we felt about a given game. I figured it out. I just couldn't pinpoint a strategy. And maybe that would come in time.
Maybe so, yeah.
But I don't know what it was. We were just kind of sitting there, and I kind of felt like after a few rounds, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done with this one. All right. So the next game we played is Euphoria, which is an amazing game from Stonemaier Games, designed by Jamie Stegmaier. Great game. I absolutely loved it.
And loved he killed us.
Well, you know what though? Had I even lost, that is my kind of game.
Yeah, you could tell it was your kind of game. I mean, you took to it right away. You automatically had a strategy in your head, and you ran with it. You were from turn one. He had it.
It doesn't hurt when the designer of the game stops by your table and goes, "Hey, if you got any rules questions, just let us know."
That was really cool.
Thank you again, Jamie, for helping us out.
Absolutely.
With that. But yes, an excellent game. It will definitely be on my shelf at some point. But I love how if you guys are fans of Scythe, you will see some of the same things pulled over into this. If you like Charterstone, you will see some of the same things pulled over into this. If you like either of those or both of those, you should definitely check out Euphoria if you haven't already. So did you like it though?
I did.
Yeah?
I really did. It really wasn't even something that I had in my mind that I wanted to play.
Right.
It was not on my radar at all. But I'm really glad that you pulled it out and you played it because it was really fun.
I think my strategy was to build the buildings, and I think that helped a lot.
It did. You know, that is I think that's a valid strategy. If you had one other thing that you were doing at the same time, you'd have been right there crushing in on the end game. All right, next, I think we all enjoyed this one, a game called Majesty for the Realm, a really cool little card game, quick card game, where each player kind of has a tableau out in front of them of locations where they can send nobles or whatever you want to call them. So these cards come out on a tableau, kind of Ticket to Ride style, and you choose every turn, you choose one and place it in the location where it's supposed to go. If you don't like the one that's free, you can buy one that's farther down the line by paying meeples, or you know, it's kind of like if you ever played Century Spice Road, it's that kind of a style of selecting cards. And then you, again, put it in the location it's supposed to go. These locations play off each other. You'll be earning money, which is points, as the game progresses, and then there's some end game scoring as well. It's super simple. But I had a ball with it.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
Another game that I didn't have on my radar. When I was finished playing with it, I'm like, ooh, that's probably a wish lister.
Yeah.
So
it's a good one.
Yep.
Definitely a fun game. Majesty for the Realm. All right. We also demoed a game called Danger, Danger, Dinosaur, which is a really cool little dice rolling, press your luck, family style game with a little bit of take that. It's cool. Neat little mechanisms.
It's really cute.
A lot of fun. This Playco? Is it
Playco? Yes.
Not a whole lot else to say. Basically, you just roll dice to try to match die faces that are on cards that give you points. If you roll bones, you can gain a bone, which allows you to ignore a bad thing that might happen, because every time you re-roll, you have to re-roll a red die, which if you roll a red die and you get an eye on it, then you bust, right? Your turn's over.
Right. Unless
you have a bone. So that's what the bones are for. Just a neat little game that was very well thought out. Very simple, but very fun.
Very cute game.
Yeah. You guys both like that one, too?
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
You might hear more about that one later, too.
Might hear more about that one later. Oh, next is Stop Thief. This was a 1970s?
I think so.
Game that they basically put a modern spin on, which is their shtick. That's what they do. Very fun. You can actually play this game competitive or cooperative, which I think is very cool.
Yep.
Play it with an app. It is app dependent. Basically, you're walking around with your characters on this board. It's just a bunch of numbered spaces. And depending on the number of the space, the app is going to tell you where the burglar that you're trying to catch is at that given time. And those sound clues, those audio clues, turn by turn by turn, help you deduce where the robber, whatever you want to call him, is. And your goal is to catch them, either competitively or cooperatively.
Right.
Wow. Super fun.
It was really fun.
I kind of wish we'd have played it again because we actually did get close to winning in our first game in this one. And I kind of felt like, oh, I'm going to do that again. But there are ways to ramp up the difficulty. So I didn't feel too bad. We were playing on super easy mode, right? But it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. And I think I didn't realize even how much I liked it when we were playing. It was after we got done playing that I'm like, that was a lot of fun.
It really was. You're right. While we were playing it, I didn't even think about it. But then, oh my gosh.
It was neat.
Yeah. I kept thinking the rest of the weekend, we should probably get that game again.
It's just a lot of fun. And that's the sign of a great game.
Absolutely.
Right? Ryan, what did you think of Stop Thief?
I liked it. I might buy that.
You might. Oh, wow.
If it was on a low price.
Yeah, on sale.
Well,
Always look for the sales.
I don't know the MSRP on this, so.
I don't either. But yeah, I mean, if Ryan's talking about spending his money on it, it's a good game.
Oh, yeah.
He's very particular and picky about the games he buys.
Yep.
That is Stop Thief. All right, the last two that I have here as far as games that we played, these are two that, well, one you guys played, one you did not play. I played part of Wasteland Express Delivery Service.
I was there.
Oh, that's right. You did play that with me. This game, I should not have let my son play.
Why is that, Dad?
Well, because the artwork, the theme is just the theme. It's like this Mad Maxy type of beyond, just everything's a desert, kind of post-apocalyptic, and that's all fine. But the artwork in this was not good for kids. The theme, I don't think, is good for kids. The mechanisms and all that were actually pretty good. It took forever to set it up, and that's kind of what tears me away from a lot of these types of games. Is you got this huge setup that's all involved and all these different little rules and mechanics and stuff like this, and it was fine. I kind of enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, not my kind of game. Doesn't mean it's not good. It was very popular in the play and win.
Oh, yeah.
Very popular. And I can see the draw. I can totally see the draw. What do you think about that? I know you, like I said, I shouldn't have let you play it, but it was too late by that time, so, And we didn't play the whole thing. We got like 3 rounds in, or 2?
I think it was 2, but the next round I would have been in the lead.
Yeah. I'm asking what you thought of the game, not how great you were at it.
I like the mechanisms, the artwork, questionable for kids.
Questionable for anybody, really.
Yes.
But, yes, particularly kids. And finally, I have Raiders of the North Sea. We did not get a full play in of this as well because it was the last day, and we had to get the library games. We checked it out of the library. We had to get it turned back in by 2 o'clock on Sunday. I had played this before. I really like Raiders of the North Sea. Super fun. It's got that mechanic where you place a worker, take a worker, similar to Coldwater Crown, if you're familiar with that one. Hasn't been done in a whole lot of games, and I hope to see it more, actually.
Me too, because I love it.
Yeah. But that's just it. On your turn, you place a worker, do the action of that space. Retrieve a worker, do the action of that space. It's a great game, though. Super neat little concepts. A little bit of take that, but not a whole lot. Which we're not usually big fans of take that in bigger games. Great little game. We're going to be playing this one again pretty soon. Probably next week, I think.
Cool.
Raiders of the North Sea. You like it as well?
I do.
Any kind of worker placement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I especially like the place a worker, take a worker.
Yeah. It's super, super neat. Very clever.
So, one game that me and Kathy played is a 2-player game called Pocket Ops. This is very similar to Tic-Tac-Toe, but they added a lot more to it. So it's not just mark.
Well, the opponent whose turn it is not has to figure out where they think you're going to place your next marker.
Try to predict it.
So you have cards that have each one of those positions, and then you choose the one you think it's going to be. You place it on the table, and then after you've made your choice, then the player actually plays where they're going to play. And then if it matches, then they've figured out where you're going to play, and you don't get to place your marker there. But if they guess incorrectly, you get to leave your marker, and that's how you play. So that's the difference. And there's a couple other little things in there,
special
like
abilities, and
there's
special tiles that when you place them, they do something different than just a normal.
Right, than just placing it or whatever. So yeah, it was a cute little game.
Tic-tac-toe on steroids.
Yes.
I like that it's 2 players because me and Jacob can play when we're not working in school.
Yeah, and it's simple enough that it's Jake's kind of game.
Yeah, definitely.
He doesn't like the super heavy stuff. All right, very quickly, we want to rapid fire. Yeah, right. I said that before. We want to try to go quickly through the games that we bought and just show you real quick a couple little sentences about them, our experience with them, if there was one, and we'll go from there. So, Kathy, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Well, the first one that I want to talk about, I actually received as a gift from the lovely Dan at R&R Games.
Oh, yeah.
It's a game called Attraction, which is a
bunch of magnets.
Magnets, thank you. A bunch of magnets.
Sticky togethery things.
Yeah, and so you place them all out separate from each other on the table, and you can either roll, toss, flick, whatever, to try to get them to attract to the one that you're throwing, and then whatever it attaches to, you get to keep. And it's you take turns doing that, and when all the magnets are gone, you see who's got the most, and that's who wins. It's a real simple game, really cute little game.
It's a neat idea, though.
Yeah, really neat idea.
Yeah.
So that's attraction.
First one I want to talk about is this little bitty thing right here. This is called Rocky Road Dice Cream. And I bought a game last year at Origins called Rocky Road a la mode from Green Couch. And this is a very small couple of cards and a couple of dice and a couple of little tokens. Simple little dice game. I haven't played it yet, but it looks just super clever. It's just his take on another little small game that was out there. And they had the wherewithal to just publish it, make a few copies, and I bought it because I'm a completionist. That's Rocky Road Dice Cream.
Okay, next up is a game called Stroop, which is based off of the Stroop effect. It's played in 2 rounds, and each person has a small deck of cards with a word on them. It's a speed game.
You're trying to run yourself out of cards. And the Stroop effect is if you see the word blue, but it's written in black ink, or if you see the word little, but it's in all capital letters. So like Kathy said, round 1, I don't remember because I got so confused.
It was very confusing. Let's see if I can remember correctly. The first round, you're trying to match what the word says. So if it's the word blue written in red, you're looking for a blue card, not a red card. The next round, after you get your brain thinking that way, totally flips it on its head. And now instead of trying to find the word blue, you're actually looking at the fact that it says it's written in red and it's in little letters and it's got four letters, so anything else other than the word blue is what you're trying to place. So it could be solid or hollow. You could go be doing that, but anything but the fact that it's blue. Not what the card says, but anything else about the characteristics of the word.
It's a mess.
It was tough.
And it's a lot of fun.
It's fun and tough. I demoed it twice. Once with these guys and once with Cameraman Kev. The first round, I killed it. The second round, I could not wrap my brain around what I needed to do, and I lost miserably. But it was so much fun, I had to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Yeah. It'll happen. It can happen for you.
Yes, it can happen for me.
All right, my next is also from Green Couch, and this is called Ladder 29. Very simple little trick-taking game. This one, basically, you're trying to get points. Every round, each player drafts a card that gives them a scoring condition. And then you play through the round, you play tricks. You can either play single cards or pairs or 3-of-a-kinds, 4-of-a-kinds, or straights. And the next player in line always has to beat whatever you've played until everybody passes, and then you start a new trick. Your aim is to be out of cards. When you run out of cards first, you score points. Second player scores points. Third player scores points. Last player, whatever that is, third player, fourth player, they score nothing. You start it all over. You do a new round. As soon as one player hits 29 points, game is over. Very cool little game. I like this one a lot. I can see us playing this quite a bit. I'm a sucker for these little card games, these trick-taking games. Bring them on, the more the merrier. I love this one too, Ladder 29.
Next game I'm going to talk about is Harvest Dice by Gray Fox Games. This was a great little roll and write game that we actually had an opportunity to play this game with Alex Goldsmith from Gray Fox Games and from the Dukes of Dice.
Yeah.
He was gracious enough to sit and teach us this game and play with us. It's, like I said, a roll and write game where you roll and draft dice. For a 4-player game, you're going to have 9 dice. And whatever color that die is adds to the multiplier of the carrots or lettuce or tomatoes that you're putting in your garden. So you draft the dice and you mark in your little grid, whether it's red or green or orange, which vegetable that you're using. And then, like I said, the leftover die at the end of each round becomes a multiplier for the color that die is. And when you get to...
Can also trigger the end game.
Yeah, when you get to 6 of one of those could trigger the end game. The other end game trigger is when someone completes their entire grid of their garden. So really cute little game, Harvest Dice.
Next on my list is another Green Couch game, another little card game called Fidelitas. Fidelitas is a game where you have a small hand of cards and you're playing those cards out to a board that has just location cards on it. 5 different locations, 2 sides to each location. If the symbol on your card matches a symbol at one of the locations, you're forced to play it there. Anytime you play a card, if it doesn't match, you can play it any location you want to. You're trying to meet different mission conditions, which you also have some of in your hand at the beginning of the game. When you trigger one of those missions, and complete it. You set that card face down, you score those points, you draw a new one. You, again, on your turn, just play one card, draw one card, play one card, draw one card, until somebody gets 10 points. Game over. Great little game. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I would play
Good talk. Fidelitas. What did you think of Fidelitas?
I like it. I would play it a lot more.
Yeah?
It's nice that the size is so small that
Yeah.
we can bring it almost anywhere.
Green Couch, that's what they do. They make all their card games fit in little boxes just like this. And there's quite a bit of game in that little box, right?
Yes, there's quite a bit.
Next game I want to talk about, we don't want to talk too much about because we already discussed it, but
Yeah.
Danger, Danger Dinosaur. This is that dice rolling game where you are rolling dice to match pictures on the cards to purchase the cards for points. Most points at the end of the game wins.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
Great little dice game.
All right, next one on my list. Time's Up.
Oh, yeah.
Title Recall. This is heavy because not only is the game in here, but I bought all the expansions from R&R Games. We played Time's Up at the convention with Dan and some of the folks from Indie Boards and Cards and some folks from Floodgate Games on Friday night. Was it Friday night?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Friday.
it's
We
Friday.
had a blast.
Oh, it was so much fun.
Man, so Dan invited us to play with him, which was super nice of him to do.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's what I'm noticing just more, the more I get involved with this hobby, and a lot of you, I'm sure, if you have been on the hobby for a while, have known this and like, duh, is that it's such a community. That's what's so great about this hobby. These people are all friends. They hang out. They have fun together. I just think that's amazing. So anyway, we played this. It's a lot of fun. This is a party game. You draw a stack of cards just depending on how long you want to play and how many people you have. It's a 3-round game. And it's 2 teams, and play goes back and forth on 30-second timers. You're just trying to get your teammates to guess whatever's on the card. And in this case, it's titles of movies, songs. And you go through the whole stack of cards, and whoever has the most cards, they're winning. Then you go to round 2. In round 2, you can only say one word to get your teammates to guess whatever's on the card.
It's the same clues.
Same
mind
words.
you.
Yeah,
Yes.
same cards. Again, you count them up, and then you keep tallying up the score. Round 3, no talking. Charades and
Singing, humming, gestures,
Yeah.
anything that you can
Anything
do.
but talking.
But except saying words. Yeah.
It's a riot. It's always a riot. This has been actually on a list of games that I've wanted for a long time. I was glad that it was there. And now I have all of it.
Next game I want to talk about is Kokoro. I don't know anything about it yet, but I bought it because my brother said it was amazing.
I have it up there.
Yeah, I know. So if you'd like to describe it in a couple sentences.
Sure, yeah. It's in the roll and write genre, but it's a flip and write. So it uses cards instead of dice.
Right.
You shuffle up this deck of cards, you flip them over one at a time, and then all players must use whatever segment, road segment, I guess you would call it, that is listed on that card and put it on their grid on their player sheet. And you're trying to connect using those different lines, it's either straights or curves or whatever, to connect different icons that are on your player mat. And whoever does that the best, once you get through a certain number of cards, in fact, I think you go until you run into a certain number of color cards, count up your points, and whoever has the most is winner. Super simple.
Sounds awesome to me.
Great. I mean, theme is totally pasted on, but it's a neat game. We enjoy it quite a bit. It's a lot of fun. It's a roll and write, so you can't go wrong.
That's right.
I also bought Harvest Dice. Moving on. And I bought Artifact Stack.
Yay!
We talked about this one a little bit. This is one where you build the 2 different tombs in 2 different rounds, and you're doing set collection to get points. A lot of fun. R&R Games. Go buy it. It's good.
Great game.
Kathy?
Okay. So while I was at Geekway, I participated in something called a trade table.
Yeah.
So what you do is you bring games that are loved but in your collection, but that you maybe don't play as often anymore, and you're looking to maybe switch it out for something that you would play or something newer.
New to you.
Yeah, new to me. So what you do is you bring 1 to however many games you want to do that with, and you turn it in, and they take your name, your information, and then they randomly draw a player to come and pick a game that they want. And then depending on which game they choose, that triggers the next person who gets to choose a game.
If that's the game you brought, you're the next one to go.
Exactly. So I participated in that. I brought 2 games, and they were both taken. So I traded Trois and First Martians, and in return, I got Colbarian, the Great Card Game, which we already talked about earlier. Great game. I cannot wait to play it again at my house.
Very fun.
And the other one that I got is an oldie but a goodie, very heavy, and that is Agricola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of those games that I have always wanted to play,
Me too.
but didn't want to spend the money on.
Exactly.
I guess, I don't know.
So how did I get this lucky? I don't know, but
Yeah.
it was still there when it was my turn. So I snatched this baby up. So I'm very happy. I can't wait to play this game. It's a pretty heavy game.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to digging into this one sometime really soon.
I also have Colbert in the Great Card Game. The reason I have it is because I won it in the Play and Win.
Yay!
Remember when I said I wasn't going to win anything? Let me tell you something, kids. There's a little thing called the power of positive thinking. No, I did, though. From day one at the convention, I had been saying, Ryan and I are going to win. We're just going to win. We're going to win. I don't know what we're going to win. We're going to win a game. We're going to win. I just kept saying it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
We both won.
We both won. I won Colbert, the Great Card Game, and the other one we already talked about as well. Ryan, what did you win?
Hardback.
Is that the front? Yay!
Or hard front.
Hard front. If there were two games that you said in your mind that if you won a game in the Play and Win, what were the two that you wanted?
Indian Summer and Hardback.
Isn't that great how that works out sometimes?
Yeah,
We're very
cool.
blessed. We're very lucky. We're very grateful. Again, this is just one of those things that makes Geekway great, even if you don't win. The fact that you have a chance to win just by being there, it was very good. We all very much, as we said, like this game a lot. So that was Ryan's victory game.
Okay, the next thing that I bought was Brussels. It's a 2 to 5 player game. I am very excited about this game. This is also kind of a heavier game.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it's been so long since I looked at the game. I just knew it was on my wish list, but I can't remember all the mechanics set to it. But I remember that I loved this game enough that when I saw the title, I'm like, oh, I have to buy that.
Yeah.
Definitely looking forward to getting this to the table as well.
Okay, next for me was a Geekway special miniature market purchase. That's Guilds of London. This one is probably more of a medium weight strategy game, but it has a lot of strategy and a lot of, decisions and things like that. Multi-use cards, which is very cool.
I like
Basically,
that.
it's got locations on a board. You're placing out different characters to these locations, kind of in an area control situation. Plus, you're playing these cards that have multiple uses. They're used as money. They're also used as defining the areas that you're going to place your workers to. A lot of really neat things going on here. Been on my wish list for a while. Just never really. I couldn't. $15.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you can't
that
pass
game
that
for
up.
$15, okay, take my money.
The next game is something that I've been wanting since it came out on Kickstarter, and I was stupid enough to not buy the deluxe edition. So I just have the retail version, but that's okay because it's a wonderful game and I love it. It's called Yokohama. Would you say it's medium or heavy?
It's mid to heavy.
It's medium to heavy. There's a lot going on. That's why I was thinking it might be heavy. There's a lot of decisions.
It looks more intimidating than it is, but there's still a lot going on.
Yes.
A lot to think about. You have to kind of be anticipating 2-3 turns ahead where you want your workers to go, just because you're limited by how many workers you have and how you're allowed to place them out on the board and move them from location to location.
But there's a lot going on, so I'm very excited again to get this to the table.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of great games this time around, so I'm very excited. Yokohama.
Next for me is the expansion to Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, and this is called Undercover Allies. Gray Fox had a stack of these there. This is actually a Kickstarter edition of the expansion, which is great. Very excited to have this. Love Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. Social deduction game for you can play with a big group of people.
Yeah.
Where you're basically trying to deduce who the murderer is. There's one person that acts as the forensic detective or forensic scientist who is kind of giving the clues, but they're not allowed to talk. It's a great game. I've yet to see this game not go over well, so I'm excited to see how all the expansion stuff works.
I did not realize you bought that. I'm excited that you got it.
Oh, you didn't know?
No,
well,
I didn't even notice.
It's very much sensory overload at the convention, so
Yeah.
it's easy for things like that to just fly. I didn't know you bought Stroop. So there you go.
Hey, my next purchase is Baseball Highlights 2045, first mention. The Spring Training expansion. I have Baseball Highlights 2045. Love the game. Haven't played it as much as I'd like to, but it's a great game. I really enjoy the mechanics of the game and how it plays. Wonderful game. So I'm really looking forward to getting the Spring Training expansion to table and putting it with my game and seeing exactly how it plays. I love baseball, so this is going to be a great addition to my game collection. So I'm pretty excited about it. That's Baseball Highlights 2045 Spring Training.
Next for me is Mountains of Madness. This game is a cooperative game where you are trying to, as a team, traverse through the mountains, whatever mountain range this is, and escape. This game, if you look at this cover and think, ooh, this is a serious Cthulhu-y, crazy thematic game, and it's thematic, but it's also just kooky. You will, over the course of this game, receive what they call madness cards, and there's different levels of madness cards that force you to act in a certain way. And when I say act in a certain way, I mean always use certain words, move to a certain part of the room before you can do anything, not talk at all, crazy stuff. And while normally I hate that kind of thing, because of what it's wrapped around here, it's just unique and interesting. Kind of an impulse buy, so we'll see. If I don't like it, it may end up
at the tray table next year.
It may be it may be on the tray table next year, but that's Mountains of Madness.
Okay, my next purchase is because I already own Charterstone. And if anyone knows anything about Charterstone, it's a legacy game that every time that you play, it changes the game. What happens is after you complete the whole campaign, you now have a playable game that has been manipulated by what you do each game.
Yeah, so every player's copy is unique, basically.
Right, every player's copy of the game is unique. So what this does is it allows you to actually start over.
Yeah, reset.
And it's a recharge pack, and it lets you reset it from the beginning and play it again. So I couldn't pass it up. There you go. That's the recharge pack for Charterstone.
Yeah, we're about a third of the way through our campaign.
Yeah.
Loving Charterstone.
Oh, what a great game.
Very much fun. All right, this was my last impulse buy. Dead of Winter, The Long Night. I've owned Dead of Winter for a few years now. Love that game. Doesn't see a lot of table time, although I have recently started with a new gaming group who are all adults. So, it's easier for this kind of game to get to the table. It is very thematic. I like this game a lot. This just adds, it's basically a standalone expansion. It's got as much, if not a little bit more content than the original. So I'm looking forward to just checking it out, seeing what it's all about. It's got some new things in it that they've added to it. Dead of Winter, I like it. The Long Night.
Again, I had no idea you bought that. Pretty cool.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, my last purchase is a game called Rising 5. We talked about it a little bit. It's a co-op game from Gray Fox Games, and we had a great time playing it, so I'm looking forward to getting that to the table again. A lot of fun.
Which may or may not be when we're done recording. Our last one, and I say our last one because it's Ryan's. He bought this game, and that is
Rhino Hero Super Battle.
Yeah.
Now, this may look like a kid's game, but it can go over very well with adults.
We played this the other day. Basically, Rhino Hero is a dexterity game where you're stacking folded cards on the table and then placing platforms, or floors they call them, on top of them. So on your turn, that's what you do. You put some folded cards down on the table, and then you put a platform on top. And in this game, you move your character, possibly, if you roll dice well, which I never do, up a certain number of levels in your structure depending on the die roll. And if there's another player there, then what do?
Combat. Or
Battle.
Super Battle.
Super Battle. And depending on who wins the battle, the loser has to move down a floor or two, and you're basically just trying to be the person who is at the highest level when the game ends. And it sounds simple and even sounds kind of boring, but oh my gosh, is it fun.
It's very fun to play and to watch being played.
Yes.
Laugh out loud.
It will get loud.
Hollering, yeah.
A lot of fun. Well, that's going to wrap it up, everybody, as far as the games that we played and the games that we purchased. The convention as a whole, to me, it's going to be hard to top. We have my only other frame of reference is Origins, but that's kind of a different ballgame because that's more of a show that is geared towards vendors kind of showing off their new stuff and some of their newer stuff in the season, more so than it is about actually just sitting down and playing a bunch of games with your friends and family. So it has that local convention feel, but it's big. It is one of the biggest conventions. I don't have numbers, but it is one of the biggest conventions out there. Something that I did want to go over real quick, as some people may be interested in, is that Geekway did send out their list of games that did get the most plays this year in the play. Number one, which is no surprise to me, was Azul.
Yeah.
I own Azul. Kathy owns Azul. Something that we did get a chance to sneak peek at Geekway was Giant Azul, or Azul Giant, whatever they're calling it, which is now available for sale on Next Move's website if you're interested in not having $300 in your pocket anymore. But boy, is it something to see on the table.
It is pretty neat.
The tiles are about 4 times the size of the original game. Everything's about 4 times the size of the original game, and it carries around in this big, heavy briefcase, right? It's very cool, very neat. I'd love to have it, but not for $300. Number 2 was Drop It, which I forgot to mention. We actually played Drop It.
Yes.
I don't know how that missed my list. I was trying to keep track as we played games, but I'm an idiot. So yeah, Drop It was from Cosmos, and it's kind of a dexterity game. Think Connect 4, but with some actual fun.
Yeah. and I can't say strategy, but
there is some strategy. Your strategy is going to go wrong.
Very
so you drop shapes in this Connect 4 looking thing that's all kind of just clear plastic, and you score points based on how high up it is in the contraption and whether or not it covers these little bonus circles. But if you touch any of the same color piece or the same shape piece or if it touches the side of the board that negates that you lose everything.
Yep.
And
No
it's a riot. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot. I don't know if I'd own it.
No, but it was really fun to play.
That was number 2, Drop It from Cosmos. Number 3 was Sagrada, also no surprise.
Yeah.
Kathy kind of likes that game.
A little bit.
Yeah, check the link in the upper right-hand corner for that one. Yeah. Dice placement, dice drafting.
Dice drafting.
Number 4, Bob Ross, The Art of Chill. That is a game that I own and very much like. We did not play it at the convention because I already have it. I'm wearing my Bob Ross shirt in homage to Bob Ross. He is the greatest man of all time.
Happy little trees.
Yes. And number 5 was Suspend, which you can buy at Target. Very cool little dexterity game where you place this little centerpiece on the table and you put these little metal things on top of each other and just kind of stack them, and they kind of sway back and forth, and you have to try to keep them from falling down. Interesting little game. Mm-hmm. That was number 5. Number 6 was Magic Maze, another very fun game that I do have and I hate the theme of, but it's a lot of fun. That's the top 6 games from the Play and Win this year. That's as far as they went. I'm sure they have all the details listed possibly somewhere else, but I haven't seen them yet. Mm-hmm. I also don't have numbers on attendance yet. Once again, and I've said it before, the staff, I can't give them enough credit for what they do.
For sure.
We definitely made sure, and everybody that we saw who was on staff or that we knew, I do know a couple people who are on the Geekway organization team, right? Mm-hmm. Made sure to tell them that we thank them for all their hard work and everything they did, because most of these people, they're just volunteers. They're doing this because they love the hobby. Yep. And while I'm sure they would just as much be out there, want to be out there playing games with everybody else, they're working very hard so that we can.
Yep.
I can't thank them enough for that. So excellent job there. A good time was had by all. I think we would all agree that we would go again next year.
Oh, yeah.
But I think what we really want to know is, will cameraman Kev go again next year? Because he went for the first time this year.
That's right.
Yes.
There you have it, folks.
You heard it here first. Cameraman Kev will be at Geekway 2019, so get your tickets now.
So you can meet the guy.
In January.
Yeah, in January.
When they go on sale. Well, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for watching again. We really appreciate you checking us out here at Board Together Games. And if you do like what we're doing, take a second to click on the like button on this video, click on subscribe, make a comment. We'd really appreciate it. If you do subscribe, make sure you click on the little bell. That's how you get notified. You probably know this already if you watch YouTube at all, but that's how you will get notified when we put out new content. Hopefully you like what we're doing here and you will do that for us. You can also check out all of our social media mumbo jumbo going on up here at the top of the screen. We did quite a bit of tweeting from Geekway this year, so we appreciate all the feedback that we got from that. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. And again, you guys, if you are bored together,
board together.
We'll see you next time. Come on, cameraman Kev, help me out here. What else did it have? Good talk. He was eating a gummy bear. So, in his defense.
Oh, how do you run this thing?
You don't, you walk it. Can you put them in the shape of a wheel? Because they are Ferris.
Ah!
He likes your tomatoes.
He thought your carrots were cute.
We don't know what we're talking about. Don't listen to us.